You are standing in the middle of a burning bridge, screaming at the person on the other side, absolutely certain you are holding the only bucket of water. Your heart is pounding against your ribs. Your face is flushed with a heat that has nothing to do with the fire. You aren't just convinced you're right. You are experiencing the intoxicating biological high of absolute certainty. But here is the mental glitch your brain is hiding from you. Your brain did not just fail you. It was designed to betray you. In this exact moment, you are suffering from a psychological blind spot so profound that being dead wrong feels identical to being right. Why does your mind produce conviction instead of accuracy? By the end of this journey, you will understand the hidden mechanism that turns your own ignorance into a shield. You will discover why the most incompetent people in the room are often the loudest, and why your own intelligence might be the very thing preventing you from seeing the truth. You will learn to recognize the 4 stages of the cognitive trap, and more importantly, how to escape the loop of feeling right when reality is screaming the opposite. Imagine a 2D stickman trying to build a house. He picks up a tape measure to ensure his walls are straight. The problem is that the tape measure is warped and every inch is actually 2 inches. Because the stickman only has that one tool, he measures the wall, sees it's 10 inches, and smiles with total confidence. He has no way of knowing his tool is broken because he is using the broken tool to verify itself. This is what David Dunning and Dunning-Kruger identified in their famous 1999 Cornell University study. They found that the skills you need to be good at something are the exact same skills you need to recognize that you're bad at it. If you lack the knowledge, you also lack the meta knowledge to see your own gaps. You are quite literally too unskilled to know you are unskilled. Does your own confidence feel like a solid floor, or just a very convincing rug over a hole? This isn't about general stupidity. It is a universal malfunction. Think about your own driving. In a classic study by psychologist Ola Svensson, a staggering majority of drivers claimed they were above average. Mathematically, that is an impossibility. It is a statistical hallucination. Yet, the worse the driver actually was, the higher they rated their own skill. Their incompetence functioned as a protective bubble. They hadn't experienced enough near misses or technical failures to realize how little they understood about physics, reaction times, or road psychology. Your brain loves a simple map. It would rather have a complete, incorrect map than one with Herbie Dragons written over half the territory. But why does your brain fight so hard against the truth? According to psychologist Guy Winch, the answer lies in your psychological constitution. For some, admitting a mistake isn't just a minor ego bruise. It is a life-threatening trauma to their identity. If your sense of self is fragile, your brain's defense mechanisms will literally distort your perception of reality to make it less threatening. You aren't lying to the other person. You are being lied to by your own subconscious. Your brain changes the facts in your memory so you remain the hero of the story. It turns, "I forgot the milk," into "someone else must have finished it." It creates phantoms to protect your pride. Is your certainty a sign of strength or a desperate camouflage for a weak ego? Consider the twisted experiment of everyday life. You watch a 7-minute video on economic policy or a 10-minute clip on nutrition. Suddenly, you feel qualified to debate experts who have spent decades in the field. This is the ignorance is bliss phase. Your confidence isn't rising slowly as you learn. It is skyrocketing because you've learned just enough to think the subject is simple. You see the patterns, but you are blind to the exceptions. You are the stickman who has learned to draw a square and now thinks he's an architect. This borrowed certainty is the ultimate modern trap. You consume a conclusion without wrestling with the evidence. You wear someone else's opinion like a cheap suit and wonder why you feel so sharp. Modern society is a factory for this delusion. Algorithms don't reward the expert who says, "depends," or "we need more data." They reward the person who shouts with absolute conviction. Confidence is easy for your brain to process. Nuance is expensive. It requires effort. It requires you to hold two conflicting ideas in your head at once. Your brain is a cognitive measure. It wants the shortcut. It mistakes fast answers for intelligent ones. It treats repetition as reliability, a glitch known as the illusory truth effect. If you hear a lie enough times, your brain stops checking the evidence and starts trusting the familiarity. Are you thinking for yourself, or are you just echoing the loudest person in your feed? There is a darker irony to this trap. While the incompetent are screaming from the rooftops, the real experts are often hiding in the basement. Psychologists Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes identified this as the imposter syndrome. People with genuine expertise look at the vast mountain of what they still don't know and feel like frauds. They assume that if something is easy for them, it must be easy for everyone else. They subestimate their own gifts, while the person who knows nothing overestimates their potential. This creates a world where the megaphone is held by the least qualified, while the masters sit in the audience, doubting their own right to speak. Why do you trust the person who never hesitates more than the one who pauses to think? Imagine your mind as a map of the world. Every time you learn something new, the horizon of your knowledge expands. But as that horizon moves further out, the edge of the map, the I don't know zone, gets significantly larger. Experts collect better questions, not just more answers. They have earned confidence. This isn't built by always being right. It is built by repeatedly discovering where they were wrong and surviving the discovery. They've climbed the small hill and realized it was just a bump at the foot of a massive mountain. They no longer need to be right because they are more interested in becoming right. Can you handle the discomfort of redrawing your map, or are you too attached to your old tiny borders? Your brain has evolved to seek stability, not accuracy. It wants a world that makes sense so you can make decisions quickly and avoid being eaten by a lion. But there are no lions in your family WhatsApp group or your corporate boardroom. There is only the long-term cost of being decisively wrong. David Dunning points out that epistemic trespassing happens when you take your intelligence from one field and assume it gives you a blank check to speak with authority on everything else. The brilliant doctor who thinks he's a master economist is just a stickman with a white coat and a broken ruler. He is using his success in one area to blind himself to his ignorance in another. To break the cycle, you must treat, I don't know, as a muscle. It is weak at first. It feels like a confession of failure. But in reality, it is the only proof that you have reached the edge of a subject's real complexity. Psychologists Geoffrey Cohen and David Sherman suggest a technique called self-affirmation. If you remind yourself of your core values, the things that actually make you who you are, you become less defensive when your specific opinions are challenged. You realize that being wrong about a fact doesn't make you a wrong person. It makes you a person who is currently learning how much of your identity is tied to your conclusions instead of your curiosity. If you want to test whether someone has earned their confidence, ask them for specifics. Real mastery can descend into the details. It can explain the exceptions. It can tell you exactly under what conditions their theory would fail. Borrowed certainty, however, stays in the vague and the general. It uses everyone knows as a shield. It reacts to questions with irritation or mockery because any question is a threat to the fragile house of cards it has built. Look for the texture of the conversation. Mastery is a map full of nuances and depends. Ignorance is a bumper sticker. Which one are you currently holding? The most dangerous mistakes you will ever make will not feel like mistakes. They will feel like obvious, undeniable truths. Your brain will not announce its error with a siren. It will give you the warm, fuzzy feeling of being justified. This is why you must adopt the 24-hour rule for major decisions. Stop researching for a moment and start acting on a small, measurable scale. Reality is a much better teacher than your imagination. An imperfect project that exists in the real world will always teach you more than a perfect plan that only exists in your notes. Are you moving forward, Or are you just sprinting on a cognitive treadmill? Reframing your relationship with certainty is the only way to grow. Intelligence is not measured by how many answers you have. It is measured by how quickly you are willing to admit you were wrong. The wisest people you know are the ones who are the most comfortable starting over. They don't see a mistake as a threat to their ego. They see it as a chance to update their map. They welcome the question that makes them pause. They value the truth more than they value the comfort of being right. If you stop protecting your certainty, you can finally start building your understanding. You are still standing on that burning bridge. The fire is real, and the person on the other side is still screaming. Your pulse is still high, and your brain is still whispering that you are the only one with the answer. But look down at your hands. You are standing in the middle of a burning bridge, screaming at the person on the other side, and you finally realize the bucket you're holding is empty. Subscribe to this channel if you're ready to stop winning arguments and start seeing clearly. Your brain is a masterpiece of deception. Staying curious is the only way to stay ahead of it. Until next time.